Welcome to Sweet and Sour Soccer. Again, part 3 with me, James, and Scott. I'm just going to say your name this time so you don't really get to speak. Part 3, this is the part 3 out of 4. We've already rated the defenders, the midfielders, and now we are on to the attackers. Going to finish off with Nuno in the next video. If you haven't already, please like the video, comment throughout, let us know what your opinions are. If you differ or agree, let us know. And check out the previous videos if you haven't already. Right, Scott. Let's start with Podence. In and out with injuries. We've just found out, we alluded to it in the previous video for those who watched it. Rumours that he's out again. Rumours that he's been seen in a hospital in London.
Yeah.
I must be honest, I don't know anything about this. I only found out today when it was put in the group chat. Obviously he came off in the last game. I don't even know what injury it is. Have they said any time frame or anything? Or?
From what I've seen, I don't know anything about the injury as we're recording. I'm sure by the time it comes out, we might know a bit more, but no, at the moment, rumoured to have been seen in a London hospital, I believe. Pictures on Twitter were doing the rounds. Yeah, but at the moment, I don't know too much about it.
No. It's been a up and down season for him. Me personally, he's been one of our best players, which hasn't been difficult this season. But for yourself, what would you rate him out of 10 so far?
Well, I think it alludes to the fact you've just said he has an up and down season, but he's still managed to be one of our best players. But, I've given him I've given him a 7 out of 10. With Podence, I don't know what his best position is going to be. I mean, we spoke about in the last video that need for a 10. I don't know if that's actually going to be Podence's best position. I think he's someone. He's been compared to Eden Hazard in the way that he plays. He's got that low center of gravity. He's he's dribbling's good. He's not lightning quick, but he's still quick, which is why I think maybe his best position is that 10. In general, I just think he's had a pretty solid season. Obviously, it's been disrupted by injuries, but in general, just a really good, solid season. Moments of brilliance. Podence is a bit of he's one of those that has moments of brilliance and then moments where he'll misplace a pass, but I think with him, that's because he looks to try and create, and I'd rather have someone that attempts these passes that are going to break the defenders than someone that's just going to sit back and choose the easy option all the time to just pick out an easy pass. So I do like the way he plays. I like the creativity he brings, and just an all-round good player.
I agree. He's my second highest rating. I gave him an 8.
Because I gave him that too.
I think he's been immense when he's played. His stats don't reflect it, but when he has come up with the goods, they've been important goals. 3 goals, 2 assists this season. Against Chelsea, he was the best player on the park by a million miles. What he was doing to Havertz was almost illegal. I think he nutmegged him twice.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
In one of the clips where when he megs him on the halfway line, you just see Giroud go.
Made it onto the famous Wolves TikTok, which obviously likes to mimic players. Obviously, we saw that done with Leno the other day, but yeah.
Oh, that was good. Yeah, if anyone hasn't seen that, check out the official Wolves TikTok. That's so funny. Have you read the comments on that about a bit off topic, but even the other rival fans are saying that's brilliant. Even the Arsenal fans. But
oh, really? I haven't read the comments. No.
It's so good. See, we're even plugging channels that we don't even do. That's what the kind of people.
Which is one thing we haven't done enough, and I know it's a bit off the cuff to do it in the middle of a video, but we've told you before to like and subscribe to the channel, but we are also on all social medias as well. Twitter.
Yeah, we've got all the links. In the
we've
video.
got the links. We'll put them in the descriptions below.
Yeah, check us out there as well, just in case you don't have one of the social medias or not. But yeah, I mean, coming back to Podence, he's just been immense. That goal against Chelsea, Mendy could have done better, but he worked well to get that goal, to get in that position. I think he's been brilliant, and like you say, I think the only thing holding him back is the consistency, having 5 or 6 good games in a row. And I know that's not an easy thing to do. I'm not expecting too much of him, but because he's shown such brilliance so far, you now want more of him. That I think, a bit like Nuno, I've said in the past, his downfall will be because he's succeeded so well. His biggest nemesis will be his previous accomplishments. So Podence for me has been one of the best this season. And again,
sorry, I was just going to say, what do you think his best position is? Would you see him more as a winger or a cam?
Like you said, he hasn't got the Neto or Adama pace. I mean, well, the Adama pace, no one in world football has. So, but in terms of Adama or a Hazard or someone like that, he hasn't got that kind of pace. But he's quick. I don't see him as a number 10 in this team because I think we don't have enough good wingers. If we had someone else who could play on the wing, potentially, yeah. I don't know if his passing range is good enough for that.
I'd also say he's shooting, maybe. I mean, he's not going to be one of those that buries something from 20 yards out, but
yeah, that's what concerns me. I don't think we rush to push him in a number 10 position. I think he's played there a few times this season out of necessity, more times than actually wanting him to. He's young. There's no reason why he can't actually move into that position, in my opinion. But I think it's more a case of other wingers not performing as well or needing him to actually play there. But for me, Podence, since he joined, I've had no issues with him whatsoever. I think he's been brilliant. And again, this season, without his influence, we could be, well, God knows.
Yeah, definitely. Moving on, then we'll cover him because obviously he's been out for most of the season, but he played enough games at the start. Raul, what's your score for him this season? I know he's played enough to give him a rating. So what would you rate him?
Yeah, 10 games, 4 goals. If he played, let's say he plays a full season like he normally does, or 35, 36 games, you've got to think he's going to get 14 or 15 goals. That's just based on what he did in the first 10 games of the season. And again, another 14 or 15 goal season from Raul. That's what you expect. That's why he's one of the best strikers in the league. I gave him a 7 just because when he was playing, he was immense. He scored within 2 minutes of the season starting against Sheffield United, hit the ground running, went on a few dry spells, but it's just Raul doing what Raul does. And, I don't think there's not many teams that would lose one player and suffer this much. Even when Liverpool lost Van Dijk, they actually did well for the first 5 or 6 games after losing him. They coped. Mm-hmm. The only reason they've struggled is because they've then lost Matip, they lost Gomez, then they had to put Fabinho in defence. Fabinho gets injured. So, they've had...
goes in.
Henderson then goes in, and then they've lost the midfield as well. But in terms of a team losing a player and affecting them so much, I've never seen anything like it.
No, and that's exactly why my rating is joint highest. I've gave him a 9 out of 10.
Oh, really? Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. I think more because it speaks volumes about the fact of, you realise how much he impacts the team when he's actually gone. That's why I've had to give him a 9 because, one thing to point out is his 4 goals. He's still top scorer this season.
He's joined with Neto, I believe, isn't he?
Joint with Neto. That probably says more about the rest of them than it does Raul in this instance. But, it just shows the impact he has when he's not playing. Raul was an interesting one because I put my hands up certain games. I think, you've not done anything for 80 minutes. What are you doing? And then, you're not really having a great game here. But then the one thing for every team needs, he'd then pop up in the 82nd minute and score the winner, for example. He is one of those players. Sometimes they'll just have that 1-2 moments in a game, but you need a player like that at times, just to win you games, and that's what he's done for us. He wins us games.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't. There's not. I don't think there's one Wolves fan out there that would have anything negative to say about Raul. Um, the only negative about him is maybe he doesn't get 25 goals a season, but those kind of strikers come around every 5 years.
Yeah.
Suarez, Shearer, Henri, Torres. Those are very hard to find. I mean, Raul he's a club legend. That's as simple as that.
Definitely. Yeah.
Moving on to his replacement, the young man himself, Fabio Silva. This is why Wolves fans are so cringy. They embarrass me. The Jose comes in and hasn't really done much. Looked very poor in the games that he has played. Yes, he's coming to a new league, new country. But I'm seeing fans saying, give him time. He's going to be a good signing. Give him time. Give him time.
At 29 years old.
29 years old, who's been playing in a very competitive league for many years, yet an 18-year-old that comes in, barely speaks the lingo. He must be moving country for any job at 18 is scary, but moving to the Premier League to play for, I'd say an almost established Premier League team that was in Europe last season and being asked to lead the line. And after 2 games, fans were saying he's rubbish. What a waste of money. I just find the hypocrisy unfathomable. For me, I've given him a 7 as well. He's only got 2 goals. One of them was in obviously the game against Albion. If we'd have gone on to win that, he could have been a legend already. But I think.
So I was just going to say that Albion goal. The Albion goal showed the development that he's already had.
The strength he used.
You saw him use his body to push away the defender and create space where there really wasn't space. And that's, for me, that move there was of someone that's been playing football for 10, 15 years professionally, not, someone that realistically, this is his first proper full season at the as a professional footballer.
Yeah, I mean, he's almost played as many professional first team games with us than his whole career.
Yeah.
So what does that say? And I agree with the goal against Albion. I forget who he shrugged off, but the way he just shrugged him off and then put it in the bottom corner. And even before that, his positional play is very good. People just don't seem to see it, but his positional play is good. He gets in the right areas. He's not scared to ask for the ball. Yes, he loses the ball quite a bit. The guy's 18 and he's come into the Premier League and said, right, I want the ball. You see him dropping 5 yards to come and get the ball. And I think that speaks volumes. Imagine when he's got the technique down and the confidence.
So you've given him a 7. I think I've given him an 8, but I think we're exactly right. We're pretty much on the same line as to why.
The reason I haven't given him an 8 is because he has only got 2 goals. He has played a lot of football. If he'd have been on 4 or 5 goals, I'd be looking at an 8 or 9. But I think a 7 for someone if you only score 2 goals, 22, 23 games into a season, but you still get a 7, I think you're doing something right for the fans.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess, look, I'll put my hands up, to be honest, when he first joined us for 35 million and he looked a bit...
Be honest. Be honest.
Let's face it, he looked a bit of a clown, didn't he, the first couple of...
Oh, that was only you.
It was maybe
you
only
were the fans. You were the ones writing him off after he was 3 minutes into his debut. Fucking shit.
I just said I can't believe we paid 35 million for him, but I think that was more directed to the fact that I couldn't believe we started the season with 2 fit strikers and he was one of them.
Yeah.
And I'd also say I was a bit annoyed the fact that, apparently his actual worth was only 27, but we paid a nice 8 million of that to Mr. Mendes, who, look, it is what it is. We won't go too much into that, but, as we know, Fosun also have shares in Mendes's business. So, look, maybe that's a bit of
Maybe we'll do a
Stuff for the
rating of
books.
Mendes one day. We'll do a video of Mendes rating one day, but yeah,
Yeah.
not now.
Yeah, to be fair, he almost needs to be in there, doesn't he? Now he has that much influence on us. We need to almost we might as
Yeah.
well throw him in with the Nuno rating. I mean, we won't. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I agree.
back to Fabio.
I think he's been great.
I think again the reason I've gave him an 8, and this is why I find Wolves fans so irritating with how they've been with Fabio. This isn't a kid that's actually come in like acting like he's above what he is. You know, from what you see, he's always seems happy to play. He's always got a smile on his face. On the training
Yeah.
videos you see, Nuno said he's always looking to learn. And look, we've already seen him improved. I don't think even if you're the biggest hater of him, you can't deny the fact that he hasn't improved since the start of the season. And if there is anyone that thinks that, I mean, God, you're clueless. Like, I'm just going to be completely honest.
Yeah, I completely agree. This is a player that could have a shocking 3 years and still be 21. You know, he's not 20
Yeah,
or 21 now, or even, he's not 22. He's 18. And 18 months is a long time in football. In 18 months' time, he'll be almost 20. Who knows where we could be? Who knows where we could be in 7 years? We could have a striker for 15 years
exactly.
without exaggerating. We could have someone that could potentially break Bully's record. Now, that's unlikely going to happen because, there's a long way to go. But from what I've seen in the last 4 or 5 months in terms of player development, I'm really excited.
Well, I was going to say, let's judge him when he's at his best in 7 years' time, and then I suddenly thought, hang on a minute, it'd still only be 25 then. So I think
Exactly. He's at the start of his prime.
It's not a lecture to those Wolves fans. I think it's just you've really got to take his age into consideration. Look at him as what he is. He's an 18-year-old kid, and he is still a kid at that age. Learning his trade in a country where it's not his first language. I mean, people might go, oh, well, he's got other Portuguese players, but that's like saying, right, I've got to move up to, when I was 18, if I suddenly got told to move up to the other side of the country, let's say Newcastle, and someone went to me, oh, it's okay, you've got a few English people there. I don't really think, that would really justify how I'd feel about having to move up there and, be in front of multi-millions people watching every week.
Yeah, I completely agree. And let's not forget the fact that if this is if he does go on in the next 2 or 3 years to have a season where he does score 20 goals, can you imagine a 20 goal a season striker at the age of 20? What's he worth? 150 million? 200 million?
Yeah, I think he could be the first ever Wolves player to break 100 million.
Quite easily. If he has a season where he scores 15 goals before the age of 21, God knows what could happen to him.
Well, I think that'd be almost like Mbappe levels, wouldn't it? I mean,
well, exactly.
More, but
yeah, definitely.
I mean, look. I mean, the one thing I would say is you can't blame Fabio for one, his price tag. He didn't decide that price tag. And two, the fact that Wolves took the decision to start the season with 2 fit strikers. I mean, look, he should have never been put in the position to lead the line this year. We should have just seen 10, 15-minute cameos, maybe cup games. And Christ, it would have even been fine if he'd spent some of the time in the under-23s, as far as I'm concerned, at 18 years old. I mean, look, he'd smash the under-23s, wouldn't he? But the point is, he should have never been put in the position he has been put in. But that's the club's fault, not Fabio. Guess that's the last I've got to say on the Fabio matter. But yeah.
Yeah. I mentioned in the previous video that I think he can use a price tag in an argument. And I did with Semedo. And that's because he's already had football of 5 or 6 years behind him. Fabio hasn't. Fabio, although both players can't help their price tag, Semedo's come from Barcelona in a team that wins leagues and Champions Leagues. I know he never won those trophies with Barcelona, but he still played with players like Messi and that. So, I expect him to do better than he's doing now. Fabio is one for the future. You can't use his price tag against him at all. As simple as that.
No.
And anyone that does, and I see these fans doing it, and I just think get in the bin. I'm sick of you. Like our fan base is embarrassing anyway, but this whole debacle with Silva and fans jumping on his back, just get in the bin. I just don't want anything to do with you in terms of having a football conversation. Kiss my dick. But anyway. What did you give him anyway? I keep forgetting. I actually gave him a 7.
You said 7. I was an 8. Wasn't I? An 8. But I think we had
yeah.
the exact same points. It was just a matter of I gave him.
We are going to try and put these scores on the screen. We really don't know what we're doing at the moment. We are trying our best.
Yeah. So I mean, bear with us. It is.
Yeah.
This is going to be.
We don't know what we've rated the players, but you should know on the screen.
And if not, just listen to us. I mean, we are speaking.
Yeah. Adama, right.
Yeah, I mean, going from a high score to my joint lowest.
I gave him a 3.
I gave him a 3. If you haven't watched the midfield video, there was someone that I also gave a 3 in that. So if you want to find out who that was, I could tell you, but instead, no, go and watch the video because it gives us a view.
You tease.
There we go. I'm teasing.
How can they resist that?
Yeah, Adama a 3.
Yeah.
Let me just announce. Let me just talk about the unforgivable moment for me. Albion at home. The first goal, okay, Bolly made a stupid challenge. It all started because, Adama decided he wanted to take on 3 players in the centre of the pitch and lose the ball when he was about 20. I think it happened 20 yards from goal, probably 25 yards from goal. And then that would have been fine. Look, that would have been okay. It wouldn't have been fine, but it would have been forgivable if he then tried his hardest to get back, win the ball back. But no, what does he do? He does what he always does. Looks at the ref or just makes no effort to win the ball back. He just went, it's okay. The defenders will win it back. Well, of course, they didn't. Bolly made the error and it led to Pereira scoring a penalty and putting the Albion 1-0 up, and which then eventually ruined every Wolves fan's day. So, I mean, that's the first part of my Adama analysis. Do
you want to carry on? You want to roll? Do you want to just carry on and start whipping out stats or a lack of stats?
Let me give another view as well. If we're judging Adama on sprinting, or more importantly, we're judging Adama on I'd call it diving, but it's not diving, it's falling on the floor. He'd get a 10 out of 10 this year.
He is a diver, and I'll say it. I don't like it in football. I can't stand it. Football's almost dead anyway. But do you remember Neto got booked for diving against? Was it Chelsea? He got booked for it, didn't he?
Yes. Yeah.
That was disgusting. I was embarrassed. It's embarrassing.
I'd like to see a red card for diving.
Whether it's I mean, you don't want to see it for your own players because you're probably going to lose the game. But I mean, I'm the same. Just in general football, I think Adama, isn't he the only player this season to be booked twice for simulation?
Yeah, and do you know what? I am going to try and defend him a little on this. I mean, obviously he dislocated his shoulder last year. He had a lot of problems with that. Maybe psychologically now he's just preparing for the challenge because he just gets hacked at all the time. But I mean, most of the time now he just looks like he wants to go down and win the foul. Whether there's a bit of psychological going on, I don't know. But that's just me just trying to justify why he's gone from this player that had massively improved. It's almost like he hasn't quite gone back to what he was when we first signed him, but he's just gone back so far this season. He doesn't even look interested in he just looks more interested in falling over, getting a foul. And obviously we discussed in our midfielders video the use of actually getting a foul these days and getting a free kick.
Yep. I mean, I agree with everything you said, and twofold. I gave him a 2. I think he's been shocking.
Was that your lowest?
That's my lowest. I gave Semedo a 3. I'm not going to tease them like you. I'll just tell them. I gave Semedo a 3, and I was scathing with Semedo, but I've seen him maybe Semedo's playing badly just because maybe just not very good, which isn't his fault. Someone else wants to play him, that's fine. But Adama, I'm done with him, man. He's the only player in the Wolves squad that I actively want out. I do genuinely want him out of the club. He looks non-interested. He doesn't give a fuck. Against United, when Rashford scored in the last minute, every player on that pitch ran their heart out. You saw Sice, he was gutted at the end for that deflection. He played so well. Everyone played so well in that United game. Adama was walking around. He gave no assistance to, was it Semedo on the right that day? And I think we played a back three that day, didn't we? So it would have been Bowley and Semedo. He did nothing in that United game. He's done nothing all season. No goals, no assists, hasn't scored for a year. Is that form? Is no goal or assist in a year form? Or you're just not good? Or you don't care? And everyone says, well, you smashed it before. You'd be surprised how much Raul helped Adama. I'm telling you. If you go back and watch a lot of the goals that Raul scored from crosses, the crosses were awful. Adama's one of the worst crosses of a ball I've seen in a Wolves shirt. They go all over the place, but because Raul is so good, he gets on the end of them and he makes things happen.
Well, sorry, carry on.
I was going to say he had a great game against City. Obviously scored twice in the last couple of minutes. Who was there helping him? Yes, he did well. Raul, he runs 60 yards and puts a ball on a plate for him. I agree, you've still got to finish it. But if you're a professional footballer one-on-one, I expect you to finish it. Adama does things where you'll look at him and go, he's the best player in the world. Some games you come away and think he's unplayable, but then the next 6 months he's garbage. But the fact that he doesn't try anymore, I've had enough of him. His attitude stinks. And again, I mean, you've already covered it in terms of falling over. I've never seen a player fall over so many times. The famous one against Holding, where he says how he fell over. He's a brick shithouse. I don't know how he wins so many fouls. He just falls over all the time. Like, I've had it with Adama. Most of the crosses go out of play or so far over the last man that he goes for a throw in. I think we missed a trick by not selling him and getting 50, 60 million for him, because I don't think we get 30 now.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you've just literally, I don't think I can add any more, and I can't disagree with you on anything either. Yeah, completely agree with everything you said. As you said, sometimes, you look at him and think, God, this player's unplayable. Then you look at him in the same, you'll look at him 10 minutes later and think, God, he's awful. And as you touched on, for me, the one thing I will say, it's a complete lack of effort. He doesn't look interested at all going back and defending for the team. He also doesn't look interested going forward sometimes now. With his crosses, let's face it, most of the time they're just floated into the back post with not much venom. As you say, yeah. I think Raul got used to that, and I think he started knowing to just head to that back post, and that probably created...
Or Doherty. Doherty got a few goals from that, because Adama's cross was so poor to Raul that it ended up laying at the feet of Doherty or Donks, who was coming in at the back post. But yeah, I mean, I don't even know why I gave Adama a 2. The only reason I think maybe I didn't give him a 1 is because fans who watch this might think I'm giving him a 1 just for clickbait. Maybe I gave him a 2 just because he's a Wolves player, and I've got loyalty to the club. But I just think he's been absolutely shocking, and I think Raul has masked a lot of players this season in terms of showing a few of their true colours. None more so than Adama. If he concentrated on staying on his feet as much as he does oiling his arms, he'd be all right. But he just doesn't. And this idea, he seems to run at defenders when he's one-on-one with a defender. We saw it against Cedric. He'll get one-on-one when he's only got 10 or 15 yards until the byline. When he's got 50 yards in front of him and nothing else, you're thinking, knock that ball 30 yards and just run. and you're one-on-one with the keeper. I don't know, he just doesn't seem to do it enough. And he seems to cut inside a lot instead of taking it down the wing, and I don't think he utilises it. Or whether that's bad tactics from Nuno and the background staff, I don't believe that. I don't think he's a very intelligent footballer. I think his pace... Look at the attributes that Adama has. He's one of the fastest footballers to ever live. Doesn't he do the 100 meters in like 10 seconds?
Yeah, I
It's
think he
almost
almost
Olympic
does it.
level.
He's just under. I mean, just over. He might even just be on Olympic level. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you think with those attributes, look at the size of him, and Barcelona let him go. There's got to be a reason. There's got to be a reason, man. And he was at Middlesbrough, obviously Villa, and that. And I don't think he's a very intelligent footballer. I think his feet are obviously too fast for his brain. I think every football fan knows that, but I think he just makes bad decisions. He doesn't utilize his pace enough, which is crazy in my opinion. But
I'll second that by saying, the top players, they learn to adapt their game to the scenario, as you've touched on. We've not had Raul to get in at the back post, and we've also not had Doc to get in at the back post for most of where his crosses go. The best players adapt their game. They change the game up, and they find a new way to work it for the team. I mean, it's obvious his current, what he usually does, hoofing it towards the back post, hasn't worked this season, but he's not looked to change it. He's not looked to change anything about his game to try and create for what we've actually got. So, yeah, I mean, look, you've done brilliantly of covering the thoughts of Adama, and I'd probably just leave it at that. Terrible season.
Awful.
Yeah.
And let's not pretend it's just been this season. If we were doing this over the last 12 months of general football, he hasn't been brilliant.
And I suppose, we've looked at the winger, in our opinion, that's bad. Let's now look at the winger that's done, in my view, the best this season. Pedro Neto. What have you rated him first?
He's my only 9.
9, yeah. He's I think that's my only 9 as well. I'm trying to look back through. Yeah, top. No, sorry, I gave Raul a 9. I knew there was one more. Neto also a 9 for me.
What can you say, man? That kid is on a different planet to anything I've seen at Wolves for. I mean, maybe since Matt Jarvis burst on the scene. Got cap for England, that raw pace, and he had mistakes and that, but Neto is just...
And you've got to say he's already miles better than Jarvis.
No, don't get me wrong, he is, yeah.
You just mean the player that you're excited by.
Yeah, definitely. Neto has it all. He's got 4 goals this season, 4 assists.
Yeah.
But it's not just that; it's everything. I haven't seen a player work so hard. You see him up and down the wing, chasing back, chasing forward. I want him to cut the falling over easily out of his game. I know it's a part of football now, and it's not just for him. It's every team, including... I mean, we are one of the worst, I'll admit it, but, I'd like to see him cut it out. But other than that, he's quickly becoming a legend here, especially in terms of the Premier League era for the Wolves. Technically good, doesn't stop working. If he had... You've got to think... What would his figures be this season if we had Raul? He's already on 4 assists and 4 goals. I'd like to see how many of those came when Raul was playing. Maybe 50-50. Maybe he was probably on a couple of goals, couple of assists. And he's putting up these numbers with a team that hasn't played well at all.
No, and that's it, isn't it? I think his numbers don't do him justice. The 4 goals and 4 assists. I mean, you've got to consider what he has been playing with this year. In my view, probably already too good for this current team. In my view, I think we'll be lucky this year. We've signed him on a 5-year deal, and we spoke about this in a previous video. We've signed him on a 5-year deal. With the effect of COVID, I don't think clubs are going to have that much to spend. So look, we can hang on to him for another 2 years and then get the actual fee that we command. I don't think we can keep him long term. I think, look, he might even go. He might even be the replacement for Messi long term. I mean, look, you can't replace Messi, but they're going to have to find someone to replace him.
Someone has to play in that position, yeah.
Yeah.
And there might be fans or anyone out there, all 4 of our viewers who watch this video. There might be some people who laugh at that comment, but if it's one of those things where all fans say it, when you've got a good gem in your team, when you've got a player that you watch week in, week out, every minute, cup games, third round, FA Cup, and if he's playing, you watch it, and you see a player and you go, yeah, he's gonna be a big player. That is Neto. He'll be at a Champions League team in the very near future. Whether he wins it or not, obviously we don't know. Better players have not won it, like Zlatan and people like that. But he'll go to the very top, I think, for both Portugal and club football. Don't see it happening in the summer. As you said, it's a 5-year deal. In my opinion, if I was in charge of transfers, I'd just say 80 million. I'd just do what Palace did for Zaha and say, listen, if we don't get the money to replace him, we're probably going to go down, which they probably would have. They knew that. I think at one point Arsenal offered like 60 million for Zaha, and they were adamant on 75, weren't they? And it never went through.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite laughable that they ended up with Pepe and paying 15 million a year over 5 years, but that's another matter.
Yeah, of course. And but I think that's what it goes to prove just how valuable getting that player is. And you can't just go and replace a Neto. Neto's one of the best wingers in the league at the moment at the age of 20. Yeah. Again, like a Silva, like a Donks is young, Neves is young. We've got some good young players, but Neto will go to the very top. I just love watching him. Every time I see his name on the team sheet, I'm just excited to see what he does that day. Wolves are the most boring team to watch in the Premier League. I'm happy to say that. In terms of a neutral, if I was a fan of any other club and I saw Wolves playing, there's no way in hell I'd watch the Wolves. No way in hell. Even I don't want to watch us most of the time. But when Neto's on the ball, it's exciting. He's the only one. Maybe one or two others, but I'll talk about Neto all day, so I'll let you carry on.
I mean, compared to Adama, he uses his pace and he uses his dribbling abilities in the right way and the exact way you want to see it. He beats defenders, but then he's also looking to do something with the ball. He's not just hoofing and hoping. He's plays with intelligence. He knows when to take people on. He knows when to pass it. He looks to create when he passes. I mean, look, again, going back to Adama, when Adama can't beat a player and he looks to pass it, he almost just looks up and goes, there's a man. I'll pick it. I'll just go for the easiest pass there is. He's never actually looking to make a cutting edge pass. Neto does.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I compared him to Messi. Maybe a better comparison with him being Portuguese would be Ronaldo. I mean, I
compared Neto to Messi and Ronaldo in the same
I'm comparing
video.
him to both.
Jesus.
It reminds. Well, look, he joined the Prem at a young.
You're gonna get some stick for that.
No, because he's joined the Prem at a young age, like Ronaldo. Yeah. I think. I know it's Neto's second season in the Prem, but look, he's only 20 years old. He plays with intelligence. He's got everything to his game. The only thing you could maybe look to add a bit more would be maybe shooting ability, but I think we've seen enough of it to kind of see that is there.
Well, you go back to the volley against West Ham at the London Stadium last season, was it? What a volley that was. He's got the technique, obviously, but yeah, the consistency of it, I agree.
I mean, he said Ronaldo's his idol, so that's why I chose Ronaldo.
Oh, is that why you're...
he said himself he wants to emulate his career, and I think he's in a position where at the moment, he can. I think he's got Madrid, Barca written all over him, and look, no matter how much Wolves grow, if a Barca or Madrid come in for your player, especially probably a Portuguese player whose probably favourite league was the Spanish league, you imagine growing up, Yeah, look,
Yeah, I mean, players leave Chelsea and Liverpool and Man U to go to,
Madrid and
the
Barca. So yeah,
Madrid and
yeah,
Barca.
I think that's his destination eventually, or
I
definitely.
think if you had to put money on a Wolves player being the first £100 million player, it'd be between him and Fabio for me.
Yeah, I think we said earlier.
Maybe Raul if he was 4 or 5 years younger. Even 4 years younger. If Raul was 26,
26, 27. Yeah, yeah.
26, 27, you're getting a 6, 7 season striker getting 15, 20 goals a season, so.
I think the only thing that might prevent Fabio from being the first, and well, look, maybe he won't end up that good, but Neto could actually become the first and beat him to it. But
He could. Who do you
yeah,
think has got more chance of becoming the first 50? We don't have a £50 million player yet. Obviously, Jota was kind of, maybe it didn't even creep past 50 with add-ons. It was
no,
40, 45, no, 45 including add-ons.
add-ons. That's it. Yeah.
Including it, yeah.
Who do I think? Who do I think?
Or
Do
is it
you know
none
what,
of those two in the
a
squad?
year ago, I would have said Adama, but not a chance
Yeah.
now. Raul, at his age and as great as he is, especially with the injuries just had, I don't see a team taking a 50 mil gamble on him. Look, it's got to be Neto or Fabio. I don't really see
But
any
the annoying thing
female
is it could be
players in.
Neves. If
It could
Neves
be
plays
Neves.
to the ability that we know he can, I mean, we say that, what was his ability? Not championship, that would be an insult, but he ripped it up in the championship. He hasn't turned it on in the Premier League. He hasn't turned it on. He hasn't.
Look, he's got away with it for a couple of seasons because he's been scoring wonder goals that like not many players can. But now,
Yeah,
I've always said when you take away those wonder goals once every 10 games, what are you actually left with? But look, we spoke on Neves and the other
yeah.
one. Look, obviously we're not going to rate him, but moving on to William Jose, who we've obviously just signed. 22 million pound release clause. He's looked
Yeah, not for
okay
me.
so far, not amazing, but look, as we said, I think you touched on it. People are telling him to give him time in the way that they
Yeah,
don't,
it's
even though they
ludicrous.
didn't give Fabio time. But that is the correct decision, the correct thing to say. Rather, we do need to give him time. 22 million
Yeah.
at 29 years old when we've already got a 31-year-old striker. I don't know. I don't know if it fits into Fosun's way of doing things. I mean, obviously they want to bring players in and sell them at a profit. Ideally, that's the way they're going to grow the club. And if you then bring in a 22 million pound player with, let's face it, at 29, he's not going to have much of a sell-on value. You're definitely going to at least lose 50% of that if you ever do sell him.
And for that 22 million, if you're not going to get the sell on value, is he going to score you 15 goals a season? Probably not, unless Raul gets another injury or gets sold. And I don't see the reason in wasting. I can't see why you'd waste a potentially 12, 18 months, 2 years of developing Fabio to have William Jose here for another 2 or 3 years until he's 32, 33. For me, I'd rather finish I'd rather fight for places around mid-table, 12th, 13th for the next year or two, developing Fabio to see if he does become that player that can take us to 5th or 6th.
I mean, would you say maybe that would help take the pressure off Fabio? I mean, I think we need a third striker. We could even need another 2 strikers potentially, because I'd like to see Fabio potentially get a loan move to. I mean, look, if he does go out on loan,
That's the other thing, yeah.
Isn't he? But I'd like to see him go to the Championship and learn the English game. I think in general we don't do enough of that in terms of our loan signings seem to go back abroad. I'd like to see them sent out to, the Championship more. Obviously, we did that with Gibbs, but he's an English player. Look, 22 million. Maybe we will go for it if you get 3 years out of him. I suppose that's
Are you saying
7 mil a year.
Are you saying keep Jose as a third choice striker if we paid the 20 mil, or put Silva down to third choice striker? What?
I think you'd have to put Silva down to third choice.
I'm not against Fabio being a third choice striker, but I wouldn't pay 22 million on Jose for that person to be ahead of Silva. I'd rather get another striker that is semi-proven in the Prem. Maybe there's got to be a player out there that you can get as a third. I don't know.
Maybe
Are you
someone that's
telling me?
about 25, something around that range.
Maybe not even that. Maybe not even that. Someone like a Jordan Ayew. Someone that, I'm maybe not Jordan Ayew, but someone who's been in the Prem, can play, can score goals if he's in the right team, but as a third choice.
Well,
If you're going,
a Josh King would have been a good one.
Josh King would have been perfect. Callum Wilson, maybe he wouldn't have come as a second choice.
I think King would have though.
Who?
I think you would have seen Josh King come as a second choice because he was happy to play that at Bournemouth, weren't he? For last.
I'm so annoyed we didn't get Ollie Watkins. I'm annoyed about that. He would have slotted in easily, but there's no reason why we can't get a third choice striker if Nuno does want to go forward with this 4-4-2. We might be looking at us playing two up top. In which case, do you
in
play?
Some games, definitely, yeah. In some games, you could see that.
I could see Raul and Fabio maybe working. I think I could see that working.
As a partnership. Yeah, that would be an interesting one to see. You could see them complementing each other. The only thing that goes against that now is you don't really see two strikers much in the Prem.
No.
But yeah, it's definitely an option.
If we were to sort out the central midfield, there's no reason why you can't have there's no reason why you can't have two strikers, but instead of a flat 4-4-2, a 4-1-3-2.
Yeah.
Or a 4-3-1-2.
Yeah.
It hasn't got to be a traditional 4-4-2 because I don't think that would work for us. I do think you need in some capacity or another. Against most teams, you need a 3 midfield.
Well, I think that's why we're going to push towards that 4-2-3-1, aren't we? By looks of it.
Yeah, potentially, yeah. Yeah, either way, I just think in terms of bringing it back to Jose, from what I've seen of him, he hasn't really been in the game. He did, apart from winning the penalty against Arsenal, he didn't do much.
Was it a bit too early to the side yet?
Of course it is, yeah, of course it is. He scored goals.
I think if he was maybe 26 years old, 27 even, you'd probably say 22 mil. He looks a decent enough backup to Raul. He's got that he's got the stature about him. You might have looked at it, but I'm not sure yet on, just purely from the fact we won't get much of a resale model. I don't know if that will fit into Fosun's plans, but I mean, look, we'll see on that one. So I believe that's the strikers done, and all we've got left now is the main man, Nuno. In the last video, we'll be having a brief chat about Nuno and what we think of his performance this season. And if you haven't done so already, obviously hit like on this video. Subscribe to the channel, and finally hit the notification so you don't miss a video.
Yes.
You did that a little early, Wetton. Can we have that again?
I'm shy now.
Okay, then.
I can show you this one though.
There we go. We'll switch it up. There we go.
Yeah. Cheers, guys. Let us know what we're doing wrong. Let us know if it's shit. Let us know if it's good. But yeah, let us know your comments on the players as well, whether you agree or not. And if you're watching this video in 12 months' time, let us know how the players are doing now. Drop ratings.
Yeah, brilliant. See you in the next video, guys.